All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Where I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's brothers, Abayala.
Brother Marquardt.
Coming back at you with the Wfi History Sunday morning session. Lord willing, we can continue these through the Spirit, making a marathon out of this every Sunday, just going into diverse history, diverse topics through the Spirit. Right? I think there's some feedback on your link. You may have to mute. Yeah, just kind of going through diverse history, diverse topics, relating to Israel, relating to our people and things that happened throughout the course of history to kind of lead us to where we at right now through the Spirit. In this history lesson, we're going to go into Jim Crow era, because a lot of people know about Jim Crow laws, but they don't know how devastating it is to our people, with how it was to our people and how it affects us now with our everyday living, and how we, function in society. And these laws, let me go to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. These laws were set up to prohibit you from being an equal so-called citizen in the United States. All right. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me know if you can see my screen. You can't see my screen, can you?
Not yet.
Okay, So I'm gonna pull this up real quick just to kind of get a better understanding of how these Jim Crow laws really affected our people. Now, let me pull this up real quick. Can you see this? I'm with Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. I'm gonna get this in the NLT. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. And it says, "What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws." So this society issues unfair laws. Jim Crow laws were literally laws just to set up to prohibit you in society as a so-called Black man, as a so-called Hispanic man, Native American man, but really to Southern Kingdom, man. Couldn't just do what you wanted to do, right? Couldn't just do what you wanted to do, because why? Those who issue unfair laws. Verse 2, they deprive the poor of justice. Yeah, we're going to get into some court cases too. We're going to get into some court cases, man. Right? They also call it the Black Codes. But there's a lot of court cases that took place, man. Right? Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954. Right? And many other court cases that took place that structured the way our people live right to this very day. They deprive the poor of justice and deny the rights of the needy among my people. They prey on widows and take advantage of orphans, man. So this is what these people do. And then when we go into these laws, and these laws weren't 300 years ago. These laws were literally about 50 years ago, 40 years ago. They just allowed you to go to the same school as them in 1954, man. You have Edomites that are alive to this very day that was there during the segregation. You think their mindsets has changed? You think they taught their children anything different from what they learned? These people have the same type of mindset of what they deprive you of your justice, man. And they deny the rights of the needy among the Lord's people, which is us. So we're going to get into some of these different things, and we're going to show you how corrupted this American system is, man, even to this very day. But you got it.
You can hear me. It's bad feedback. Okay, Khan. You go to Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse number 1. Right, so like how the brother's saying, when you read Isaiah the 10th chapter, obviously it kicks off with, wrong judgment proceeding forth. And we deal with slavery, captivity, and even after that, the Jim Crow, as we're about to go into, you'll see how it's law specifically set up just to stop Israel from prospering. And this all goes back to show how we the real Jews, well, how we the real Israelites, how we really God's chosen people, because not even according to the curses, but when we read throughout the whole Bible, it's the same estate, the same captivity, the same oppression, it's the same living style for God's chosen people. Right? And we look at the present day life, you see who lines up with that today. So this is Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, the burden of Habakkuk. That's like the burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. Oh, Yahweh, How long shall I cry? And thou will not, and thou will not hear, even cry unto you. Right? It's like even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou shalt not save. And we look at the long time periods of captivity, again, of slavery, all the way to 2024. Right, that part is that, and thou will not save. It seems like it's almost as if we're going through all this hell and there's no salvation that's coming. All right, your grandparents will tell you now, man. And we've been saying Christ was coming since I was a kid. You tell Jake today we're in the last days. Or they've been saying that, for years, for the longest. So it's almost seeming like it's a spirit on Israel to where this a state that we in is just gonna last forever. We didn't know it. It says, verse 3. Why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievousness? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that rise of strife and contention. All right, this is the part, verse 4. Therefore, the law is slack and judgment doth never go forth. So the Most High said the law is slack and judgment and never goes forth. Righteous judgment is never going to go forth. All right, setting up righteous laws and ordinances, that's never going to go forth. Getting justice from wicked crimes, that's never going to go forth in Babylon. That's why Habakkuk said, through the Spirit, judgment never goeth forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. And that links up perfectly with Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Because when we go into this era, this Jim Crow era, it's nothing but wrong judgment that's constantly proceeding. All right, and this is the same nation that say that they're God-fearing people. They swearing on the Bible. All right, they put their right hand on it in. They saying, God, we trust. But yet, it says what? Wrong judgment proceedeth. What comes with the Bible is righteous judgment. And that shows the hypocrisy and all the evilness that America has done and that it will continue to do, right, to the so-called Black and Hispanic God's chosen people. Because again, wrong judgment proceedeth. All right, but you got it.
Let me get one more before we hop into it. We go to Psalms chapter 94 and get the classic, verse 16. This is Psalms 94 and 16. I'm sorry, verse 15. But judgment shall return unto righteousness, and all the upright in heart shall follow it. So the Lord said judgment is going to turn unto righteousness again. It's not always going to be like this. It's not always going to be unjust laws and unfair laws, and you got to go to the so-called white man's, legal systems, and you got to get a prosecutor, you got to get a lawyer, you got to pay for a lawyer, and you're not always going to be like this. There's going to be a time where righteousness is going to return for judgment, man, and it's not always going to be evil judgment that proceeds out of so-called white men. They just said Breonna Taylor. They let that officer go. I think it's like 2 days ago. They let that officer go because they said her boyfriend is the one that caused her to be killed. They said her boyfriend is the one that, because they was looking for him, but they killed her. That's how she died, because she was in her boyfriend's house at the time. He wasn't even there, and they killed her. And they said, well, it was his fault that you were even in that situation, so we're not going to indict the officer. That's evil. So that's why the Lord said in verse 16, who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? And that's what we're doing now. So when we do these live streams, when we bring out this history, right? When we bring out all of these facts against Esau, we uncovering his secret places, man. We're rising up against him, right? For the most high. That's why the Lord said, who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquities, man? So we have to do this. Because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? Your average Jake is not going to do it. He's trying to find him an Edomite woman to be with for the rest of his life in this damn juice walking up Michigan Avenue. That's all he's trying to do. But us, we as the servants of the Lord, we have to uncover the secret places. All right, so let's hop into it. All right, let's hop into it through the Spirit, man. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me pull this up, because the Lord said we got to do this, man. We have to do this. All right, I'm gonna pull up the first one. Who is Jim? All right, so just kind of understanding, All right, who was Jim Crow? Who was Jim Crow? Who was this guy? All right, so this man named Thomas Rice, or Thomas Dartmouth Rice, right? He was a struggling actor. He was a struggling actor in kind of the late 1800s. Right? It says the name Jim Crow is often used to describe the segregation laws, rules, and customs which arose after the Reconstruction ended in 1877 and continued to the mid 1960s. How did the name become associated with these black codes, which took away many of the rights which had been granted to black people or Israelites through the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment? All right. So he was a struggling actor that, finally found his niche. What was his niche? His niche was putting on a black face, right? And you see a lot of this in old cartoons, them old Mickey Mouse shows with Goofy, and they used to have black face. They used to do that on purpose, right? I think Balenciaga or Gucci, one of them did that a few years ago, right? And they said sorry, we didn't mean to do that. And then Jake was like, okay, and they started buying their stuff again, right? They came out with that on on a runway, and this is what it looked like. It says these words are from the song Jim Crow as it appeared in sheet music written by Thomas Dartmouth. That's madness, right? Rice. And it says a struggling actor, right? He did short skits in between at the Park Theater in New York happened upon a black person singing the above songs, right? The song they're talking about is like this, right? Some accounts say it was an old black enslaved man who walked with difficulty. Others say it was a ragged Israelite stable boy. Whether modeled an old man or young boy, we'll never know, but we know that in 1828, Rice appeared on stage as Jim Crow, an exaggerated, highly stereotypical Israelite character. And guess what? Don't they do this now? Don't they put that in movies now, Tyler Perry? They put that they have a highly stereotypical Israelite character. Israelites are always used as what? Comedic relief. In a serious moment in a movie, then you got that stupid Jake that come out and say something funny, and then it kind of relieves the moment. That all goes back to this. It all goes back to this. All right. Let me go jump down a little bit more. Jump down right here. It says by 1838, the Jim Crow was being used as a collective racial epithet for Israelites, not as offensive as the N word, but similar to coon or darky. So he kind of created a slur out of doing that, right? The popularity of minstrel shows clearly aided the spread of Jim Crow as a racial slur. The use of the term only lasted half a century. By the end of the 19th century, the words Jim Crow were less likely to be used to uh, derisively describe Israelites. Instead, the phrase Jim Crow was being used to describe laws and customs which oppressed Israelite people. So they used this man, and this man, right, Thomas Dartmouth Rice, and what he did, that kind of shaped the structure of the laws that were to come. Right, it started as a racial slur, then it started being used as laws to come on our people, man. Right, different customs and different laws that were prescribed by the end of the 19th century, they used that to start oppressing you. Right, let me jump down a little bit more. Let me jump down right here. And it says Rice and his imitators, by their stereotypical depictions of Israelites, helped to popularize the belief that Israelite people were lazy, stupid, and inherently less human and unworthy of integration. So that's why they even do that in your movies now, man. All around the world, they're showing you a stereotypical way of how we are as a people. That's why when you go to different countries, they treat you a certain way. That's why when you go to Africa or you go to China, they look at you as what's portrayed on TV. They look at you as what's portrayed in the media. And this is what's portrayed in the media, that you're lazy. You built up you built up every kingdom in the world. How are you lazy? You built up America. You built the Great Wall of China. You built everything in this world, but you're still going to be portrayed as lazy. Even our Issacharite brothers, they literally keep America infrastructure going, but they're considered lazy, man. Stupid. You don't have a lot of knowledge, right? They look at you as less than them, inherently less human and unworthy of integration, right? And that's called propaganda. And that's what they do to destroy the image of our people, right? It's through their shows, through their movies, which all started during what, the 1800s. There's nothing new under the sun. Let me get that precept, man. Right? There's nothing new under the sun. Let me get that real quick. Because you got to understand something. Am I still sharing?
I don't see the other screen with the precepts or the
Can
Bible.
you see the screen now?
Nah, it's still the article that's up.
Okay. All right, Con, because it's not gonna let me share individually. This thing acting crazy.
I got a precept after you too.
Con. All right, here we go. Can you see it now? Yeah, it's nothing new under the sun. Let me get this real quick. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past. So they've been doing this since the 1800s. They've been doing this since 1865, right? They've been doing this all throughout the course of the 19th century, even now, the so-called 21st century, right? Where they put you in, you would get an Emmy, Jake could get an Emmy for just being stupid on TV. Right? What's it called? An Oscar? Jake could get an Oscar just for being this funny, man. You can't be no other role. You either have to be a homosexual or you have to be that funny guy. There's no in between. That which have been is now, and that which is be have already been, and the Most High required that which is past. And that's how they, like I said, they portray you to the rest of the world. So when you go to these other places, they already have that fixed image of you in their mind given to them by the so-called white man. You got it.
Oh yeah, that's right. You go to the classic Deuteronomy 28, verse number 43. Right, Deuteronomy 28 and 43. And when you go into history of our people, when we was in West Africa and when we was in Europe ruling the so-called Dark Ages, we read the book from Babylon at Timbuktu, and you doing a history on the Dark Ages, you see how highly we were as a people, how much that other nations respected us. It was one point in time where the so-called white man, he actually looked up to us, all right, and he reverenced us. But through the curses and through all hell breaking loose and disobeying the Most High, we went from being glory and rulers all the way to era you got known as Jim Crow. You got that one quote by Benjamin Franklin. He came out and was talking about the swarthies, which goes back to so-called black rulership. He said he wished America, roughly paraphrasing, to be filled with swarthies, which are black kings. So we went from being that swarthies and kings and rulers just to a couple years later, right? Slaves bound up at the bottom for a penny and entertaining Esau for nothing. So this Deuteronomy 28 and verse 43, and it reads, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." And Most High willing, we can touch on that history too. But nevertheless, the Most High said he shall be the head, and we shall be the tail. All right, it was one point in time where they had to entertain us, work for us. Now it's the other way around, and they got blackface going on, and it's a big old racist marketing. Like the brother said, Gucci came out with the blackface. And Jake still to this day buying Gucci, which is off. And that shows that even these effects on our people, from Jim Crow all the way to now, it still has that same mental stronghold on our people, man. All right, still got that same mental stronghold, that same slave mentality, that same, like the brother said, you got Jake, he either gonna be a homosexual, damn athlete, or a comedian. All right, I don't know the brother name, but remember the brother that came by camp that one time, the comedian brother?
Ooh.
And he do a stand-ups in front of Esau on the side.
I know you're talking about. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah, he do all the stand-up comedic shows with Esau on the side judging him.
Mm.
all Edomites on the side, right? And he just up there just getting off. They saying racial terms and racial slurs, and they throwing out all these racist jokes. He just laughing, he taking it in, he trying to dish it back. It's the same spirit, But again, I all go back to the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. But you got it.
Con. I'm going to Psalms chapter 79. I'm start at verse 4. Let me see what this says in the NLT. Right? Psalms chapter 79 and verse 4. We are mocked by our neighbors in an object of scorn and derision to those around about us. Derision is like a harsh scorn laugh where somebody's laughing so hard or slapping their knee. So that's how these other nations view you. They mock you, bro. They mock you just based off the portrayal and the things that they see about you. Yeah, they may act like they're your friend and you're home, but they keep you around just to say you're that one black friend, and then you keep them laughing, right? You just kind of entertain them a little bit, right? But other than that, you're nothing more than a derision to those Edomites, to those Elamites, to those Ishmaelites. All right, you get them, you get those devils mad. You start bringing out the precepts, they don't let you know how they really feel about you, and it's gonna go back. It's gonna go back to the way that America portrays you. That you're nothing. You're just a black guy. I hate that word black. You're just a black guy or black woman. You're just an African American, and they look at you like this. You're just an African American, and they're gonna remind you. But the point is they mock you, right? And this is in the scriptures. This is in the scriptures, man. Why? Because we transgress. It all goes back to us just transgressing the laws of the Most High. So these are the things that happen to us in our nation, and it still affects us to this very day. But we can get the next article, right? I'm gonna get yours.
So
You got
I got a
precept?
quick precept.
Con.
Yeah, you go to Jeremiah 2, verse 15.
You go where?
Jeremiah 2 and 15.
Con. Con.
Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse number 15, right? And it says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughters of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that man called the perfection of beauty? Right? The joy of the whole earth. And again, at one point in time, that's what they called us. All right, the city of perfection, Jerusalem. But now, well, guess what? They walking past, right? They wait, they clapping their hands, like they wagging their head at us, looking at us as entertainment. That's all it is. So-called astonishment. You even go back in the history. You got something called human zoos. Around this time as well. You got babies as damn, what is it? You got babies that's so-called I don't even know the word for it, as attraction, so-called. But guess what? That all goes back to human zoos. Right? I'm gonna read that again. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. That's damn mockery. You walk past, all you doing is getting hand claps. All you doing is you're just good for entertainment, sports, like the brother said, comedy, comedic, make yourself look crazy just to please Esau. That's all it is. All right, it says they hiss and wag their head at the daughters of Jerusalem, and that's embarrassing, right? Imagine every nation, they just look at our people and just wag their head like, damn, these really God's chosen people, man. These the Jews. Are these the Israelites? City of perfection, the city of beauty? Can't be, right? Reading on, it says, I'm read that again, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? And like I always say, man, at once upon a time, this was the title that we had upon our people. Now you go to the hoods and you all in the ghettos, we're not called, the city of perfection, the perfection of the beauty of Zion. Now we known as Negroes, Spics, African Americans, wetbacks, all right, entertainment, slaves. All right, the Lord said it's Israel homeborn slave. Right? Is that all we good for? Is just being slavery, being trodden underfoot? So again, we read these precepts. You want to make sure you're lining it up to these different time periods that we lived in. And Jim Crow if I'm not mistaken, they don't really teach this in school anymore. Or I know they took out slavery. I don't know if they took out this as well, but this is good history to go into. Because real quick, let me get another one. Let's go to Exodus chapter 17. I believe that's what I want. Exodus chapter 7. Actually, maybe sloppy. Let me find this quick precept. All right, let me find this quick precept real
Yeah,
quick.
and they're taking a lot of this information out. They are taking a lot of this information out of school on purpose. I mean, you you ask a 17-year-old now, do they don't even know about the slave ships. A lot of these people, it confounds me when somebody says, I don't know about transatlantic slavery. That's all we learn. They started you there, then they moved right in. They started you at the slave ships. Then 2 days later, you already talking about Martin Luther King. Damn.
Right.
Then Rosa Parks.
Black
Then
history.
after, huh?
I said doing all that in Black History Month.
Yeah, Black History Month. You don't learn, and then you may if you really in an advanced history class, they talk about Malcolm X for one day. All right, class, that's it. That's the end of him.
Yeah.
Your homework is Alexander Hamilton. That's all they talk about their people. They don't talk about you. They give you a few characters on February, right? In February, they talk about the same three people: Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and who was that other dude they be talking about? I forget. They talk about the same three people. And how she sat on that bus.
Right, and they came out and said that her husband had a car. So
That's evil, man. Talk about she had a car. She was mad at him for that day.
Yeah.
Hate this place, man.
Yeah. You go to Deuteronomy 25 and verse 17. All right, Deuteronomy 25 and 17. So the Most High, He commands us to remember things like this, atrocities like this. Times period like this where, oppression was very high. You got Jay now. I know a brother that said, he not really that mad at Esau. He can't find a reason to really hate Esau as much as the scriptures say. So he ain't really got no reason to hate him that much, which is off. Because if you know the things that Esau has done, not even just in Babylon alone, but throughout the Greeks, the Romans, all the way back in Exodus 17, Exodus the 25th chapter. Deuteronomy to the 25th chapter, all throughout history, right? Then Genesis the 25th chapter, when we was in the womb together, that should make you hate Esau. Then fighting together in the womb.
Yeah.
Jake forget all these accounts, right? And you still, man, I know you gotta hate Esau. Man, hate him that bad. Well, brother, you gotta go back and you gotta dig deep. So this Deuteronomy 25 and verse 17. It says, remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come out from forth out of Egypt. So when Amalek came, right, and we was departed from Egypt, and he was killing the old man, the kids, the women that was behind us. Guess what? The Most High said to remember that. I never said forget him for that. Never said let bygones be let bygones be bygones. Forgive and forget. No, the Most High said remember that the so-called white man does to our people. It says how we met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. That's the same thing today. They did the same thing. All right, they attacked, they just killed the sister. All right, shot her dead in the face. Why? Because they fear not the Most High God. They still oppress you to this day. And the Most High, the point is, the Most High, He wants us to remember these things. He never said forget what Esau did to you. All right, Psalms 137, that's not in the scriptures for no reason. The Most High wants you to remember all these accounts, all these atrocities. Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter, the whole book of Maccabees, right? All the oppression that the Greeks did, all right? The so-called New Testament, how the Romans oppressed us. You got to go into these things and see all throughout history how these people oppressed us and how they oppress us to this day, right? And the reward that's coming afterwards, right? But you got it.
Yeah, we can dive into You can dive into the next article too. So I'm gonna dive into one of yours.
Okay, Kyle.
Kyle.
You can zoom into a little bit. My screen kind of right. Right, but this Jim Crow and violence, right? You can scroll down. And also I want to make quick point too. It looked like when you scroll up real quick on the damn images, they got like museums. You know, they got it's like they show on how they used to lynch us. And then you see no Jake here, right? It's nothing but Esau getting off on it. All right. I mean,
He's
why is
smiling.
this a thing? Yeah. Why is this a thing? Like you gotta show someone a museum and you gotta put a tree in it. You gotta damn get the rope, the damn noose. This should be, some type of hate crime. Are you saying one thing about Amalek, the whole world getting sent up, right? But yet they got museums on how to lynch the so-called black man to this day, which is off. And they got the next picture right at the bottom too. They got a up close picture too. Lynching as a social control. But you can scroll down and get into the article.
Right here.
No, I'll scroll down a little bit more.
Wow.
Yes, that's off.
Where you want to go?
All right, so let me see. Probably want to start real quick. I did want to start at one of the books. Actually, go back up. I believe it was that the article or the book, right? Well, the middle one, right there. What's it called?
Oh,
The
right here.
brute. No, right there. All right, how? Right, I want to read the book real quick. The title, right? How sleeps the beast? It says the man, right, equals Negro. The girl, white. It says the payoff, lynch. Right. It says during the post-war period of radical reconstruction from around 1867, 1877, many white writers argued that without slavery would supposedly contain their animalistic tendencies, which is off. You can scroll down a little bit. Right. It said animal, right? It said animalistic tendencies, which is off.
That's
So
where
they
you get
saying you
beauty. That's where you get Beauty and the Beast from.
see that, right? Animal. So all you coons out there, the so-called black and Hispanic man, right? They called you animals. Y'all had animalistic tendencies. Right? They don't bring out again. They don't bring out the history on how you was a king in Europe, right? How you was a king in Russia, Russian icons. How you was a king over there in Africa. They erase all that, and they bring out the animalistic tendencies that you had in slavery. It says black people were reverting to criminal savagery. The brute, and this is a book. This is propaganda at its finest. They wrote a book on this. It's not a little article, just a little. They wrote a series of books just demonizing you. It says the black people were reverting to criminal savagery. The brute, how you say that? Car- uh, car-
Caricature.
caricature portrayed black men as threatening menaces, fiends, as psychopaths. That's what they did to the brother. I don't know why he's slipping my mind. The brother that got lynched and beached, 15-year-old. I don't know why his name's slipping my mind.
Yeah.
Right, but they say he winked at the so-called white woman.
Oh, you talking about Emmett Till?
No, I'm talking about Emmett Till. Right. So when they seen that 15-year-old boy and he so-called winked at that white woman, right, which she came out and said he never did anyway. All right, what they really was looking at was a threatening menace, fiend, psychopath, and hideous, terrifying predator who targeted helpless victims, especially white women. Right? And this is an article that they put, this is a book that they put out demonizing us. And this is their way of justifying lynching. All right, anytime you see a black, and they do that today. Every time you go on the news, all you see is a black man shot, killed dead. Black man killed this person. Hispanic man did this. All right, where's the last time they glorified us as a whole on the TV? on any outlet. Don't got to be sports, anything outside of entertainment. We have to actually glorify so-called black and Hispanic man as a people. So the same way how they wrote damn books on these things, right, is the same way how they portray it today on the TV, on the media, things like that. So Jake, when they and this is the same mindset, like the brother said, the people that wrote these books and these articles, their grandchildren, and some of them are still living to this day. You think their mindset changed? You got people that still saying, make America great again. They're talking about these time periods, you know? So, Jake, just remember every time, a so called white man is looking at you, whether that be at the workplace, a damn boss, your manager, you outside walking, whatever it is, always remember, keep in mind that these characteristics, you can highlight that, Bubba Kashaw. All right, these characteristics, right, being portrayed as a black man, as a threatening menace, fiend, psychopath, hideous, terrifying predator, all right, and getting off on helpless white women victims, just keep in mind, Jake, that that's how they look at you. And all these is certain books and articles that they put out during this time to justify the lynchings, right, the tortures that they did to you. All right, the next one you got the KK. Actually, it was another one. You can scroll down. Was it we got one more on that. Right. Salakia. Let me see. Um
Yeah, this is crazy. I
yeah,
remember.
this it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Black what's that? Black people as targets. Let's see what that's going into. Hit the
Mm-hmm.
coon. Right. You can go to the picture real quick. To the cover. Look at that. Hit the coon, man. I
Imagine a
don't think
base.
it said what?
Imagine a baseball going not Easter, they'll throw a baseball 90 miles per hour and hit you dead in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's read that, right? Hit the cone, right? An African Dodger. This was what popular. These wasn't low level games that you just played in the backyard. Or if they could, they would have had this in the damn Olympics as a sport, right? Hit the cone and African Dodger were popular games as resorts, man, fe- fairs and festivals before the 1920s. And I don't know about other states, but I know in the Midwest there's been a lot of state fairs that's been going on. They had one in Indy, had one in Milwaukee 2 weeks ago, had one in Chicago recently. There's been a lot of state fairs. Imagine you going to a state fair and you seeing, your little cousin, your little sister, all right, getting hit with a damn with a melon, with a damn like the brother said, a baseball, a softball, damn dodgeball, 80 miles per hour, 70, 60, 90 miles per hour. These were games and prizes that they played at these festivals and these fairs. It says prizes were awarded for direct hits. Some operations gave the human targets pro- protective wooden helmets. That's all. A protective wooden helmet with woolly hair. Madness, man. Madness. And again, you can actually pull up that article or pull up a picture. Hit the nigger baby.
What
Right.
is
I
that?
believe they got a famous picture on it. No, it's not on here, but
Oh, you want me like type it up?
yeah, real quick if you can. Oh yeah, they got games called Hit the Nigger Baby. You know,
The African, yep, just like you just brought out the African Dodger.
look at this. The games that were played at fairs. You see, you was right. Baseball. You go to that baseball, say American Dodger. See that? Yeah, he was right there. Right. So it was baseballs, and baseball's not soft. All right, that's not a softball, especially when you throwing it at that speed that they be throwing it at. All right, let's go to image. Look at this, man. Just madness.
I think that's where you get the LA Dodgers from, the baseball team.
Yeah, see
Wow.
that? And Jay, and you should look at this and get mad, man. All right, you should look at this and get pissed. Now you got Jake in 2024. Oh well, that's just the past, right? That's just the past. We in a new time of life. Her father loves me, brother. If y'all was living back then, her father would lynch you speedily. You know,
Hey,
look at the
even if he
images.
didn't, I was gonna say, even if he didn't want it to, he would did it out of pure pressure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If he didn't do it, her brother would have did it, or her uncles, or his damn co-workers, and he would have got in on it because his damn right state of mind would have came back. Look at this. Imagine your daughter, your little sister, your little brother. You got 5 Edomite kids just, and they're not even taking turns. They just all going at the same time, right? Let's talk about the N word. Madness,
Wow.
man. But you got it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you got human. You literally got human zoos, man. This is only stopped about 60 years ago. They was doing this all over Europe and in America. Human zoo, look, like you said, your little cousin, your little damn Tevin, you know, damn Kayla, your little cousin, your little sister,
right.
and then she's walking around in a sea of Edomites, and God knows what He's giving this little baby right here.
Yeah.
You don't know what He giving her. Oh, he was just being nice. Look at her. He's not hitting her. Yeah, he's probably feeding her poison, man, that he made in his dirty basement. This is real history. I love white men. I love white people. I mean, yesterday at camp, you had a Jake being touched all over by an Edomite. He says, I know that Bible.
Yeah.
And he walks away, and the Edomite's just grabbing his shoulders, massaging him, grabbing his head,
Yeah.
smacking him around, twirling him. And we're like, what the hell is this? But it all goes back, huh?
I was gonna say that Edom, he kind of put his head on the Jake chest too, like he,
Yeah,
you know,
rubbing his chest. It wasn't a sight to see, you know. But that's his property, and he
yeah,
loves being his property. And it all goes back to this, you know. It all goes back to this. This is the shameful history, on this dirty country, man. Let me go to Isaiah 43, Isaiah 47. And the Lord is uncovering the skirt. This Isaiah 47 and verse 3. I'll start at verse 2. I'll start at verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of Chaldees, for thou shalt be no more called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover the locks and make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the river. So what is it saying? Because a woman, a modest and virtuous woman, she usually has a head wrap on. But the Lord said, you know what? Uncover, because America portrays himself as a virtuous and modest woman. So the Lord is telling them, uncover your locks. Yeah, take off that head wrap, make bare the leg, and uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Why? Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. And this is the shameful history. That's what Edomites would say. This is the shameful of history of our past. Your past was only about 45 years ago. What are you talking about? Your past was only about 60 years ago, 70 years ago. It hasn't even been that long. I mean, slavery is only about what, 200 some years ago, 210 years ago. It has not been that long.
yeah.
So God said, you know what? We're going to expose this harlot for what she's been doing on the earth, man. The Lord will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man, because you have had the children of Israel in slavery, and you have mocked them, and you have forwarded the affliction. Let me go to Zechariah 1 and 15. I think that's what I want. Or is Zephaniah? Right? I'll let that NLT. I got to get in there real quick. It's Zechariah 1 and 15. But I am very angry with the other nations that are now enjoying peace and security. I was only a little angry with my people, but the nations inflicted harm on them far beyond my intentions. You see that? I mean, you can't get around that. Well, God can save. No, they're at peace right now in security. They're not being invaded by other nations right now. Yeah, we hear war talks, but they're still at peace and security. Just walk outside your front door. You're gonna see somebody with a dog walking around the block talking about, "Hey, how you doing?" Somebody at the store that's comfortably buying. God was only a little bit angry at us, but who told him to take away our heritage? Who told him to inflict another 100 years of laws oppressing our people on where they can live, what hospitals they can go to, what schools they can go to, what restaurants they can go to, and forming the KKK, putting you back into slavery beyond your intentions, man. This is what the Lord said, but the nations inflicted harm on them far beyond my intentions, man. That's why the Lord has to destroy these heathens, man. And these Edomites, and all these nations have to get it, man. You know, on a common board, somebody, I think a sister Khan said crazy how God didn't stop it. Yeah, God didn't stop it. You know why? Because he's letting that what? He's letting that wickedness rise until they have to drink of the cup himself, man. The Lord not going to chastise these nations. The Lord is going to let them fill up that cup. And guess what? Then they're going to have to drink of everything that they have given us, man. You know, and that's what's going to have to happen. Got a lot of scoffers, but it is what it is. This is the history of our people, and we got to come back to the Most High. But let's get a different article. I bet
I
he
gotta
was. Can you get preset?
I got yeah. You go to the classic Psalms 137, right, verse 7.
Yeah, and I bet no, Khan loves Esau. She wants to save Esau, or he, or whatever you are. Right? Psalms 137:7. You got it.
Right. Psalms chapter 137, verse number 7. It says, "Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom." That's the second witness that said, "Remember the works of Esau." You got David saying it. Or you had Moses through the hand of the Most High saying it earlier, right? That we brought up. Deuteronomy chapter 25:17. So the Lord said, "Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof." Right? And the Most High, he requires us again to remember these atrocities. Because next thing you don't remember these, you start taking gifts and you start taking bribes from Esau, and he using these smooth words, and now he's trying to, he's slowly infiltrating you. That's what he did with Gad. Now moving these, using these smooth words, right? Esau, you're real good with the tongue, with the mouthpiece. Using these smooth words, they get you comfortable, then he destroy you. But guess what? If you just remember the works that he did to our fathers, the works that he did to us in the wilderness, or what he did to us when he burnt down the temple, when it had nothing to do with him in the first place, slavery, Greeks, Romans, all right, Genesis 25, when he even back then when he sought to kill Jacob, his own brother. All right, when the Grecians sold us to the Africans, all these accounts, man, the Lord said, it's a commandment to remember that. It says, "O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us." Are we going into the human zoos? Are we going into the hit the nigger baby? Are we going into all these things? The Most High said, "Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us." And I need a brother to break this down. I need a Christian, right, to
Yeah.
break this down for me. If
Yeah.
God loves everyone, why is David God's anointed? No, all the Christians love David. No, why is David God's anointed, commanding us to be happy to reward them as they have served us? Again, a lot of you Christians, y'all got this, forgive and forget spirit. All right, which is evil. You just asking to be left out there. You just forgive and then forget, so they can backdoor you again. So again, I need a Christian to break this down. Why is the Most High, through the hand of David, through the spirit of David, through the spirit of the Most High, commanded us to be happy to serve them as they have served us? Same way how they threw baseballs at your little daughter, your baby cousin, your nephew, your niece. And guess what? In that day, the Lord said, "Be happy," because you're going to do that to them. It says, "Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones," man. So even though we're reading about all these atrocities and slavery and oppression and Jim Crow, The beautiful thing is the Most High, He's gonna allow us to get back in righteousness. So we're not getting depressed over it because we know the reward that's coming behind it, behind all the affliction and the unjust killings and all the Emmett Tills, right? All the Breonna Taylors and all the ones that got swept under the rug and never got brought to light. Guess what? The Most High is gonna reward us 7 times over, for 7 times more for what all the wickedness that Esau's done to us, man. All right, let's go to Genesis real quick, chapter 27 and verse number. Let me see what I want. Right, Genesis 27. Right, let me find this quick precept. And verse 40. In verse 40. Right, Genesis 27 and verse 40. And it said, right, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And all this, and it's, when you think about it, it's deep. But all this goes back to the book of Genesis, man. I remember when I first came into this truth, I found out who Esau was and how we were and who we was and how we was twin brothers and how we hated each other all the way from the womb. That's one of the biggest things that blew my mind, when I first found this out. So, and it all makes sense, to this day.
Yeah.
It said the reason why Esau hated Jacob was because of the blessing. And that's one of the biggest questions I had before I came into this thing. Well, how come a so-called black man and white men just never get along? All right, because in school they teach you that slavery is just, it just happened. It is what it is. Everyone got put into slavery. It's not personal. The whole time this thing has been personal since Genesis, right? Really the 25th chapter. And that's deep when you really, meditate and you think about how it's been war since before, the damn near the beginning of time when it comes to, these different periods and these days. It's been war all the way back to Genesis, the 25th chapter. So reading on in this in verse 41, it says, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning of my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And that's been in his heart even to this very day, man. All right, now will I slay my brother Jacob. And even to this day, Esau is slaying Jacob. All right, the so-called white man is spoiling and destroying you so-called black and Hispanics. Right, and the Lord, let's go to get one more Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. And even though we seeing these things, we going into the history and we going to these not current events, but we going into this time period, greater times than these are going to come. All right, this is Jeremiah 37. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And it's even going to come a worse time than Jim Crow, slavery, oppression. And again, we just meditate on that. That's hard to fathom, right? A worse time than Jim Crow, lynchings, a worse time than slavery. Guess what? In that day, Esau is going to be at its most purest form of state, still utterly slaying, destroying, and just obliterating you so-called black and Hispanics, but in righteousness for truth. All right, read about, read the so-called New Testament. See how Paul and the apostles and Peter, James, and John all got killed for the Lord. How they were martyrs, how they got sent off to certain, the island of Patmos, and boiling water poured on them. These times is coming back on a very high level. So when you look at this, you got to ask yourself, can I endure these afflictions for the Lord? Can I endure this for righteousness' sake? When you also look at these, different time periods and these accounts, you gotta keep in mind that this is coming back on the earth again, and it will come again. We was talking about that last night at the new moon, not the new moon, but congregating at the brother crib. We was talking about certain torture tactics that Esau gonna bring back. So when you also, remember these things, you want to remember that these times is coming back on the earth in the near future as well. All right, but you got it.
Come. Yeah, I mean, we brought that out in Ecclesiastes 3:15. You know, that which has been, bitches, that which have been is now, man. Paraphrase, and it's gonna come back all over. But we're gonna hop into this article through the spirit. Jim Crow laws, right? History.com, right? Hop into it. It's also known as black codes, right? It's also known as black codes. So the roots of Jim Crow laws began as early as 1865, immediately following the ratification, right, of the 13th Amendment, right? So why do you think they ratified it? Because they wanted to make you a legal slave in the prison system. And that's exactly what they did. They made you a legal slave in the prison system. So if you go to prison, you're technically a legal slave for the state, right? Who abolished slavery in the United States, right? That didn't happen, right? But black codes were strict local and state laws that detailed when, where, and how formerly enslaved people could work and how much compensation, right? The codes appeared throughout the South as a legal way to put black citizens into indentured servitude. So you graduated from a slave to an indentured servant, right? And you have a lot of Irish and a lot of Italians. I don't know if you hear this, King, but oh, we were slaves too. No, y'all were already indentured servants. Just because y'all got treated poorly from other Edomites, we were the slaves.
And it's like to and quick point. They chose to be indentured servants. They came over here to do that.
Yeah.
We was kind of forced into it. Like if we want an indentured servant, then you wasn't eating, you wasn't feeding your family. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
they kind of forced us into that area versus when they came over here, like you said, the Irish, even Moab said, y'all traveled over here to become that, So yeah.
Yeah. Like when they was building the railroads, when there was a rush to the west for the gold, and they was building the railroads, we were forced to build the railroads. Moab, you came over here on purpose to build the railroads.
Right.
Y'all Italians, y'all Irish, y'all came over here on purpose to build the railroads. So y'all can try to make your family have a so-called better life in America. We were already here as slaves and enforced into indentured servitude. And guess what came with that for us? They didn't take y'all voting rights away. They took our voting rights away. That's why Jake be so zealous to vote. They be so zealous to damn put a bid in and a ballot in. I always have a question for somebody that votes. If your president doesn't get picked, does your vote matters? I never got it. Well, everybody's votes matter. So if I pick one person and the other person gets elected, does my vote matter? No, it was vanity.
Right.
But it says to control where they lived and how they traveled and seize children for labor purposes. Don't they do that now? Don't they seize children for labor purposes now? Don't you have something called CPS? They put you in a foster care system, give you over to some Edomites, or they will take Northern Kingdom's children because they know they don't have any papers. They control where you live. Do you know that's called redlining? I was talking to the brother Yalashamayim in Wfi Minneapolis. They still have laws no matter how much money you make, and it's with the bank that where they in Minneapolis and Minnesota, you still can't live certain places. If you're a Jake, they don't care how much money you make. The bank is not going to give you a loan, and actually the bank is going to deny you because the bank owns those houses. That's still to this very day. All right, let's go down. It says the legal system was stacked against Israelite citizens with former Confederate soldiers working as police and judges, making it difficult for Israelites to win court cases, ensuring they were subject to Israelite codes. This is crazy, man. You're going to trial and you're already losing the trial because of who you are. They got an all Edomite jury. It's all 9 to 13 of them, and they put in a bid within 15 minutes of deciding of who, if you're innocent or not, and there's no evidence. Right? It says these codes, and it's going to get into what I want to talk about, worked in conjunction with labor camps for the incarcerated. So that's why they ratified or they amended the 13th Amendment, because they had to put in there, well, no, they're legal slaves if they get arrested. That's why you had Ronald Reagan in the 80s, the war on drugs, because if they put you in jail, there's more labor for them. And it says where prisoners were treated as enslaved people. Israelite offenders typically receive longer sentences than their Edomite equals, and because of the grueling work, often did not live out their entire sentence. Yeah, you was dying in jail, Jake. You was dying in just. It's not like now where you can get in and out in prison. No, back then you was dying in there. You was getting 40-year sentences for crossing the street wrong. You was getting 50-year sentences for looking an Edomite in the eye. What's going on, boy? No, I'm a man. What you say to me? And then guess what? Those Confederate soldiers, they was working as your police and your judges. It's nothing. There's nothing new under the sun. When these veterans come back, all praise to the Most High, they be on the streets. But some of these veterans, they work as police. They work as judges. They work as your lieutenants. They're captains in the damn Esau's, local state police district, man. They're waiting for an opportunity to get somebody like you, Jay. They're waiting for an opportunity to get somebody like you because they're trying to put you in prison to receive longer sentences. This is what, and that's why it says it leads up to how we are treated to this very day. Because why do you think Jake is always in and out of prison? You have something called? Let me look this up. It says private prisons in the United States incarcerated 115,428 people in 2019, representing 8% of the total state and federal prison population. Since 2000, the number of people housed in private prisons has increased 32% compared to an overall rise in the prison population of 3%. So you have private prisons. Private prisons are for-profit prisons. For-profit, meaning what? There's certain people behind the scenes that get paid off of your sons and daughters going to jail. So when they see Tyrone with a switch and a ski mask, Esau is getting off on that. Esau claps his hands and says, yes, St. Louis, Chicago, New York, we need more of these young Israelite men in ski masks. We need more Israelite women twerking, saying they want a hood Negro. We love that. Why? Because Esau is getting rich off you, man. Esau is getting rich off you. Let's see this. Let me see what this says. How do private prisons make money? They said it's more dangerous than publicly ran facilities, according to U.S. Department of Justice study covering federal prisons. Violent attacks by inmates on correctional because nobody cares in there, man. They just want you in there. It's like a cage, man. For Jake. And Northern Kingdom as well. You can't forget about Northern Kingdom. All them Northern Kingdom gangs, they in there with Jake, man. With Southern Kingdom. You have a lot of private prisons in the United States, man. And they feed off of you. So guess what? What did it say? So because what? Of the grueling work. They feed off that. They love that. Let me jump down a little bit. We didn't even touch about the KKK. And they're still very active to this day. Go to Arkansas. Right? We got a camp out there in Arkansas, man. Led by mighty brothers. And they'll tell you stories about sundown towns. Go to Tennessee. They still active out there. It says during the Reconstruction era, local governments, as well as the National Democratic Party and President Andrew Johnson, thwarted efforts to help Israelites move forward. Violence was on the rise, making danger a regular aspect of Israelite life. Isn't that a curse in the Bible? Isn't that a curse in Deuteronomy? Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Let's start at verse 65. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. This is exactly mirroring you can't tell me we're not the Israelites. Because this is literally danger is a regular aspect of an Israelite life. That's gonna what? That's gonna make you have a sorrow of mind. It gets deeper than that. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. You don't know if you're gonna live the next day. Because the so-called KKK can come and take you away tomorrow. You don't know if your daughter gonna make it to school. And thou shalt fear day and night, and thou shalt have none assurance of thy life. You can't tell me we're not the Israelites, man. Because it tells you right here, violence was on the rise, making danger a regular aspect of Israelite life, man. It's going to tell you Israelite schools were vandalized and destroyed, and bands of violent Edomites attacked, tortured, and lynched Israelite citizens in the night. Families were attacked and forced off their land across all the South, man. And that all goes back to these curses, man. Verse 67, in the morning thou shalt say, word God, it were even. Yeah, Lord, please allow me to see the night evening time. And in the even thou shalt say, word God, it was the morning. Yeah, Lord, can I please wake up the next day? Jake, they make songs about that. They don't know if they're gonna wake up the next day. They don't know if they're gonna make it tonight. I just gotta stay strapped because I don't know what the next day gonna bring me. Because why? For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes thou shalt see. It's morning time. You can't wait till it's nighttime. It's nighttime. You can't wait till it's morning time, man. Why? Because your life is hanging in doubt before you. And that's all a direct uh, composition of what happened during Jim Crow era, which is still happening to this very day, man. Sonia Massey, the sister that got killed. Shalaki, I didn't even know you couldn't see me. Shalaki. Sonia Massey, the sister that got killed. You know, her life was hanging in doubt before her. So these are the things that happen to our people. Why? Because it stems back from the laws that they put in right after so-called slavery. It says the most ruthless organization of the Jim Crow era, the KKK, was born in 1865, the same time that we were so-called free from slavery, in Pulaski, Tennessee, as a private club for Confederate veterans. The KKK grew into a secret society, terrorizing Israelite communities and seeping through white or Edomite Southern culture, with members at the highest levels of government and in the lowest echelons of criminal so-called back alleys. So you have men in your government, your police force, your chiefs, your captains of the police force. They're all a part of this so-called KKK that's still active to this very day. You know what you got to do.
Kai, I got a quick precept. You go to the book of First Maccabees, the first chapter. Right, First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse number. Let's see where I want to start at. You can start at verse 1.
Verse
Right.
what?
You can start at verse 3. Right, verse 3. Right, First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse number. Actually, I want to jump down. Right, I want to jump down to verse 18. Right, verse 18. Right, so this is the book of First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse number 18, and it says, right, and made war. Actually, that's not what I want. It's in it. I believe I'm reading right over it. Right, where it's saying evils multiplied.
Yeah, you gotta scroll up to verse number 9.
9, kind the water. Right, this is the book of First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse number 9. It says, after his death, right, they all put crowns upon themselves. Talking about Alexander four generals. It says, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right, and we read the book of Maccabees. It's a spinning image of what we go through today and what we went through in slavery, our oppression. You read about babies. Let's get to the second Maccabees chapter 6 real quick. Second Maccabees chapter 6. You had babies that was getting thrown down headlong off the damn pinnacle, off the damn what's it called, cliffs. All right, Second Maccabees chapter 6 and verse number 5. And it reads, right, Second Maccabees 6 and verse 5. It says, the altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbidded. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days, ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. All right, jumping down to verse 8. Moreover, Then went out a decree of the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of sacrifice. And whoso will not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. That might have been seen the present misery, so that they might have seen the present misery. Right? It says in verse 10, for there were two women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led around about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them headlong from the wall. So these same things, like the brother brought up the KKK, it's the same spirit from the damn Roman generals, the centurions, are the Grecians and near armies, killing innocent babies and kids, and you lynching and you going around, you burning churches. They had that one incident where they went. I can't remember the name of it, but they went and they bombed the church and they killed all those Eves that was in the basement of the church.
I know what
You
you're talking
know,
about from that incident.
yep,
I
yep.
know
They
Billy Roof, who killed like all Israelites in the church though.
You say what?
Dylan Roof, the Edomite that had killed I think like 13
Yep.
Jason at church, and they bought him
Mm-hmm.
Burger King.
Yep. So these things is nothing new under the sun, man. Again, you like to say just in the past. These things happened years and years ago, as if your great grandmother wasn't the one living through it. So that's why again we can't say it enough. You got to remember these accounts. You can't forget about the KKK. All right, you can't forget about Jim Crow. And as a matter of fact, I wanted to bring out a point as well. The word lynching, right? For some people that don't know, that go back to Willie Lynch, a slave master that had a slave plantation. I believe it was in Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken. Right, and he was known for torturing his slaves and having real bad torture tactics. So he kept that name and he damn titled it to the lynching and to the murdering of you so-called black and Hispanics, man. Right, Willie Lynch. So that's some history to go into. Nevertheless, you go to Proverbs, right, chapter 29 and verse number 16, I believe. All right, Proverbs 29 and verse number 16. It says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increase, but the righteous shall see their fall. So the Most High saying, when wickedness is in rulership, all these transgressions, rape, robbery, murder, oppression, these things are bound to increase, man. These things are bound to just take hold. I'm gonna read that again. It's heavy, right? Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked, and that's how you know who the wicked are too. All right, that's how you know who the wicked are. You just had the Olympics. You had a Transformer Olympics. With all type of sodomites and transforming body parts. The Most I said when a certain group of people, the wicked, are when they're in rulership, it said what? It's like when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increasing. Right? It said, but the righteous shall see their fall. And that's that latter part, the righteous shall see their fall. That go back to Psalms, 137 or Psalms 137. All right, so recompense the wickedness that they've done unto us, and to give it back to them in righteousness. So all the burning of the churches, the KKK, how they was, I believe they KKK, they bombed Martin Luther King crib, if I'm not mistaken.
And they shot up Emmett Till's grave.
Yeah, they shot up, and they still do that to this day. That's like a memorial thing that they do. Every year they celebrate his death by shooting up his grave. Which is wicked. Imagine a man, he pushing peace, right? He said he had a dream that little white boys and little white girls come together one day and be happily ever after. And they bombed up his crib, man. All right, madness. You have what's the brother name from the Black Panther? Right? They came in there and killed him while he was asleep. I don't know why his name. It's a lot of names slipping my mind, right? Nevertheless, they came in there, they murdered him in his crib. Ran in his house and killed him. So, all these accounts that we bringing up, it's vital to remember these things. Right, but you got it.
Con. Yeah, I mean, the Lord says you got to remember. I mean, if you don't remember, you don't search history, it's going to be hard for you to hold, you know what I'm saying, Esau and these other nations in contempt for what they have done. They remember you. They remember your history. They got your history. But Jake is so quick to forget. Pull it early. Let me go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. All right, it's Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Now, let me read this again slowly. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. See, you have a lot of people, and I think on the comment board, they're not mad. It's okay. It's okay that they done these things to you. Just forgive them. He didn't do it. His dad did. His grandfather did, but he didn't. So why can't I love him? Why can I love her? You're not a wise man. You're not a wise woman. You're a fool because they are their forefathers. He is his father. He is his grandfather. They have the same morals and the same traits. No matter if they want to change and be different, and some liberals and some Republican, it doesn't matter. They're all Edomites. If you're oppressed, a wise man's gonna get upset at that. If you're not wise, when that lady got murdered in her home for having some water 15, 20 feet away, if you're not mad at that, you're not a wise man. You're a fool. You're an idiot. You're dumb. You're sottish. You're stupid. But guess what? What did Esau do? He gives many gifts. A gift destroyeth the heart, man. That's what a gift would do. A gift is going to destroy your mind. It's going to destroy your mindset. It's going to destroy how you act. It's going to destroy what you think about. When you go to Proverbs chapter 25, the Lord tells you about Esau, and you got to be aware of this guy. He's very smooth. All right, Proverbs 24 and 26 and 24. It says, he that dissembleth with his lips and layeth up deceit within him, when he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. And that's what they do when they try to give you gifts, man. There's actually abominations in their heart, man. They want you to be destroyed. They don't want you to remember this. They don't want you to be angry. An angry so-called black man is their worst fear. They don't like that. They don't like when you're so mad that you start to unify, you start to come together against him. Oh, that scares the hell out of them. I think the president of the CIA said that in the 60s, the worst thing for this country is so-called Israelite unity. If Israelites come together with Northern Kingdom, it's a wrap for this country, man. And you start keeping God's laws, and you repent in the land you was taken captive, and turn your face toward this place, as it says in 1 Kings 8:47, the Lord's going to start working on your behalf. But it says, whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be shewed before the whole congregation. So when they're giving you gifts, stimulus checks, you may get that job promotion. They may call you buddy and slap you on the back and says, how was your weekend? That's all deceit. Don't fall for that. These Edomites will burn you. I speak from experience, and I know brothers can and sisters can as well. Every single time they will burn you, man. They don't care about you. So you can't, you can't get got. Let me go back to this. And I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna kind of blow some people's minds. Let me go to
So I got a quick precept.
Khan. Khan, you got it.
Exodus. Ezekiel 35. Right, the classic Ezekiel 35 and verse number 5. Right, Ezekiel 35 and verse 5, and it reads thus. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword, and the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. It said a perpetual hatred. This thing it didn't say hatred for 2 years, 7 years. No, a perpetual hatred. And that's not just with one Edomite. Right? That's not just Alexander the Great. That's just not Joe Biden, right? Donald Trump. This is every Edomite from your coworker to the damn 1 month-year-old Edomite baby to the 99-year-old devil that's still living. Every single one of them has a perpetual hatred against who? The children of Israel. Who's the children of Israel? We're the children of Israel. Who's Esau, the so-called white man? So no matter what, it's always going to be that contention and that spirit that they're going to have against us. Again, slavery, Jim Crow, it's always going to be some type of perpetual hatred, and it's going to be ongoing forever and ever and ever. All right, that's why the Most High said in the book of Obadiah, the 18th verse, that eventually they're going to have to be destroyed and cut off from the land of the living as a nation, exterminated from off the face of the earth. All right, getting away that cancer, right? That getting off that cancer, right, out the earth. But I just wanted to bring out that quick point through the spirit. These people are gonna always, forever and ever, have a indignations against you. You know, but you got it.
Con. Let me get this real quick in Ezekiel 25, and we can go into your next article.
Okay, God.
All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 25. I'm going to start at verse number 14. And it says, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. So we're going to get our get back. God's anger is going to be in us. Lord willing, I'm there in that day to be a fisher that's turned into a hunter, as it says in Jeremiah 16. But the Lord said, by the hand of his people Israel, he's going to lay his vengeance upon Edom. It's going to be all hell's going to break loose on these white people. If you are a white man, white woman, or child watching this live, count your days. If you don't die by a famine, if you don't die by a nuclear missile, you're going to be dying by the hand of the Israelite. And he's not going to spare in the day of vengeance, man. And the Lord said, they shall do in Edom according to mine anger. Think about it. You think you angry right now watching this? What about all the things you couldn't see and God see? All these years, the Lord's seen everybody's thoughts and what happened in secret. You only see what's portrayed to you and what's documented. The Lord anger is 100 times more than what you think right now. You think you angry, you shaking, you may throw something at the wall, you may punch a wall real quick, and then by the end of the day, you may be okay. The Lord's anger is continual, man, because he see these things 24/7. And it says, according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, because the Philistines have dealt by revenge and have taken vengeance with a despiteful heart to destroy it for the old hatred. So these nations got an old hatred against you. This hatred that they have against you is not anything new. It's not, oh my gosh, these Israelites, they're just, we just all of a sudden don't like them. No, as the brother Marquas brought out in Genesis 27:40, these nations hated you since Genesis. They hated you since the time of Adam. They hated you since the time of the serpent with Eve. They devised that plan to get you to destroy you ever since the Genesis 1:1. These nations hated you. They have an old hatred towards you, man. You know? But let's get back into the next article through the spirit, man. All right. Let's see this one. Oh, you got it.
All right. Let me see. All right, it says report documents, right? 4,000 lynchings in Jim Crow South. It says a new report has tallied almost 4,000 lynchings of black people in the South during Jim Crow era. About 700 more than were previous tallies of Southern lynchings. And this is not even including the lynching of the Mexicans, right,
Mm.
that you had in the 1800s. All right, it's not even including that. This is just still dealing with Southern Kingdom right now. But we know at one point in time, and of course in the Americas, you also had something called the lynching of the Mexicans. Which is something else. I believe we went on it. We actually did that on the last video we did, a while back. It
Mm-hmm.
says the report by Equal Justice, right, intensive. It says a nonprofit that provides legal counsel to the poor calculates that were 3,959 lynchings in the South from the end of Reconstruction era around 1877 and 1950. The Eli report, I believe I say or the EJI,
EJI. Yep, EJI.
EJI sign. It look kind of blurry on my end, right? The EJI report focuses on specifically on what the group calls racial terror lynchings. See that? It says the victims were killed often because they had committed some type of social transgression, like, wow, social transgression, right? Like bumping into a white woman. Wow.
Social
All right.
transgression is crazy.
For bumping into a white woman. And we read earlier, how they remember the book, you know, the little article. They said that
Mhm.
the so-called black man was what do you say, a psychopath, all type of man. Yeah, what did it say? There you go. Right.
See
Yeah, I believe
that?
that's
Yep.
there. Yeah. Blacks portray, and mind you, this is how they thought of you, and this is how they still think of you. Portray black men as threatening menaces, fiends, psychopaths, hideous, crazy work, right? Terrifying predators who targeted helpless victims, especially white women. So if you bumped into a white woman, that's a social transgression. Where's that in the Bible? Social transgression. It says, or because they were accused of a crime, and like the brother went into, very low level crimes like walking across, like jaywalking, right? He was jaywalking, you was getting 50 years. Or if you was doing, the bare minimum, you was getting all type of, you know, like, or you was getting all type of damn time thrown at you. It says in cases involving criminal accusations, lynching victims were not given the due process of a trial, like the brother brought out. It says predatorials of these lynchings were not charged with crimes or the killings, right? They were not charged with crimes for the killings. And that goes back to Habakkuk 1 and 4, Isaiah 10 and 1. Unjust laws, they not upholding the law that they have in their own. That's like you could just go around and just, murder white people and get away with it. Imagine that you just going around murder a white man and get away with it. That's how you know that society is designed for the so-called black and Hispanic man to die, to perish, to stay in captivity. Imagine that. Imagine if these times were still a white man can just go over there, lynch you, get away. The whole city know about it. All right, the whole town know about it. The sheriff, the governor, nobody does nothing about it. That's the same spirit. You gotta damn fight for justice now. You see, uh, like the brother brought out, right? How the cop went in there, killed the woman, and they blamed it on her husband. Said it's your fault. So it's the same spirit on the earth still to this day. And imagine how many more crimes and videos that's not being recorded with the so-called police body cam are that's still getting Jake jammed up to this day. You know, but you got it. And
Done.
also point, a lot of these sheriffs and a lot of these high level officers, they I don't know if you heard before, but they actually go around and they still do these big massacres with Jake. They kind of off duty and they go around and they catch them a nigger boy, right? And they do what they got to do. And they get away with it. But you got it.
That's right. And they cover it up.
Yeah,
It's like a ritual that they
yeah,
do. And then what they'll do is they'll cover it up. The police department will cover it up. But if they're demanding a statement from the police department, they'll just throw something out there. And if they go to trial or court and they get fired, they will just go to another county somewhere else. And that other county, they know that other police department, so they'll fit right in. They'll move their house, everybody, and guess what? Like that guy that killed Sonia Massey, he already had different reports of him doing the same thing to other people. So how you get that job? How you get that job? If you on your report on your background it says you have incidences with other individuals with racism, how you get that job? See that? So that's what they do. Let me get this real quick. In the book of Wisdom of Solomon, right? It's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. And I'm gonna start at verse 5. Because this is how Esau think. They don't have any knowledge of God in their mind. It's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 5. I'm starting verse 4. And it says, and our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance. You think they really believe that we don't remember what they have done? They really believe that they socialized us with propaganda and washing, Edomite washing our mind, that we don't remember their works. No, Esau, we remember your works. We remember everything that you have done, all the way from the time of Adam, all the way from the time of Jacob and Esau. We know your spirit, you devil. You can't get away. But they think that no man shall have our works in remembrance. Hey, they even think God ain't gonna have their works in remembrance. They think the Most High forgot it, right? And it says, "And our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcame with the heat thereof." Overcome with the heat thereof. So they think that their life is just gonna pass away, and all their atrocities, they're gonna pass it down to their children, and their children are gonna die. It's gonna be an everlasting loop. Well, let me pour this real quick, because Esau, you got some news. You have inherited lies. This is Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity in things wherein there's no profit. So you saying that our time is going to be forgotten and our works aren't going to be in remembrance, that's a lie that you inherited. That's not true. Your great grandfather lied to you. Your father lied to you. Your grandfather, your grandmother, your cousins, your uncles, your great uncles, your nieces, your nephews, your brother, your mother, your father, they all lied to you. We're going to have your works in remembrance. And most importantly, our Father is going to have your works in remembrance. And you can't get away. You inherited lies. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. You're going to die over and over again. And then you're going to be a slave in a Jake's plantation, man, doing the most grueling work. We're going to have you in concentration camps. See, the Wisdom of Solomon, the second chapter, gives you a detailed, accurate depiction on how these devils think about you. Verse 5, for our time is as a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning. So they don't think they're going to come back. They don't think John chapter 5 and verse 25 down to verse 29 is going to happen, or the Lord is going to resurrect the just and the unjust. They don't believe that. They think there's no returning. For it is a fast seal that so that no man cometh again. They don't think they're going to come back on the earth. They don't think that they are their forefathers. They think they're a totally different dude. But you got to understand something, man. The Most High, when he has your works in remembrance, that spirit is going to be summoned from the third heaven. He's going to put you back in that body, and then you're going to be judged all over again. You're going to die. See, it says, come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, right? They enjoy, we in so-called Chicago, they enjoy that damn diamond. They look at the silver bean all day. They walk up and down with the most expensive restaurants and the most expensive jewelry stores. And you in New York, you in the fashion district, you in a business district. They enjoy the things that are present, what they see. And let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth, right? It says, let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. Yeah, let's fornicate. Let's get all the ease and all these women. Let's do what we want to do with them. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion and our lot is this. And that's what they think their lot is, man. They said our lot is this. This is our life. This is my life, and I can do what I want to do. And this is what they also do. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow. Sonia Matthews probably was a widow, and they killed her. Nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. They didn't, yeah. You read 2 Maccabees 6 and 30. When did they reverence Eleazar, the 90-year-old man? When did they do that? Weren't they turning? Let me get this. Let me pull this up. Weren't they doing this to your aged men? Look at this. They're turning the you know how highly pressured a fire hose is? That thing can kill you. That thing hurts. It's like a laser being shot at your back, fully pressured. Oh Lord, remember the children of Edom. They're oppressing the poor righteous man. This is what oppressing the poor righteous man look like. See that? And all they're doing is marching. They not fighting nobody. They're marching. They got their hands behind their head and they still doing that to them. And some of your grandfathers, Jake and Eve, some of your grandmothers, they remember this. They don't want to talk about it, but they remember this. You know? So let's go back to that. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Here's the point. Let our strength be the law of justice. Their strength is in the laws that they create. Jim Crow. We're going into Jim Crow laws. Woe unto them that prescribe grievous laws, man. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. And they think we're feeble and that we're nothing worth, man. Right? And there's so much more on this. I'm going to read one more. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law. Yeah, we correct them harshly with breaking God's laws, man. And objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education, man. That's what we do. That's what the righteous do. That's what we're doing now. But they are oppressing us, man. All right, but you got it.
Khan, you can jump to verse 10. Right, verse 10. It says, right, it says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. All right, let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Right, and that's what they say. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. That's off. Like that's just off. I just want to get off on killing God's chosen people, the poor and the righteous. The two people, the Most High oppose, right? The poor and the righteous. That shows the spirit of Esau. You know, right? The Most High, he upholds the poor, right, to a very high level to where he hears their prayers, right? And the righteous, the men that are close with the Most High, the men and women that serve and reverence the Most High. So Esau, he looks to take out the two closest things that's closest to the Lord, man. I let us oppress the poor righteous man and the widow, right? And we read through the precepts. You read Second Maccabees, the 3rd chapter, and you read about Elijah and how he's supposed to turn back the hearts of the sons. And you read all throughout the precepts. You read about Hezekiah, 2 Chronicles 29. You read how the Most High opposed these characteristics: the aged man, the elders, all right, the feeble. Again, Esau, he killed the elders. All right, he killed the old man that was in Egypt, as we left in Exodus 19 or Exodus 17. The widows, the men, the women whose men died in war. All right, the poor, all these men, all the feeble. This is who Esau attacks. So when we look at the Jim Crow era, it says again, let us oppress the poor, right, righteous men, and that's their whole goal. That's what they get off on doing. You can go to Psalm 73 real quick in verse number 8. Right, Psalm 73 and verse 8, and that's a wicked mindset to have. But again, that lets you know who the wicked is in the last days. All right, Psalm 73 and 8. It says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. And again, that's the so-called white man. All right. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. Who's the oppressor? Who's getting oppressed? Who oppresses the whole world? All right, Esau, the so-called white man again. It says they set their mouth against the heavens, right? And their tongue walketh through the earth. Meaning they're prideful. They boast against the Most High. They set their mouth against the heavens. Then in Isaiah the 14th chapter, it said, I will be like God, man. Right? Isaiah 14 and verse 14, I believe. 14 and 12 on down. It says, their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and the waters are full of cup are wrung out of them. Right? And they say, how doeth God know? And their slacking, and is there knowledge of the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. All right, and these are the ungodly that we're going into, and they increase in riches. All right, they increase in prosperity, they increase in wickedness, they increase in gold, silver, they increase in all things on the left hand side. Why? Because it's given to them by Satan, right? By the powers that be on the left hand side. So as Esau, as we going through these precepts, and as you see the state of our people, that's why it's important to remember these precepts because they keep your mind sober and they keep your mind spiritual on the accounts and keep your mind spiritual on what people that we actually dealing with. And we read these precepts. These are some dangerous precepts. You're dealing with a people that's being blessed by Satan on a very high level, man. And knowing that they being blessed by Satan on a very high level, how much more should you want to seek the Most High God on the right hand side on a very high level to overcome that wickedness?
Right.
Our Lord say in the book of Ephesians, it'll be go to Ephesians chapter 6 real quick, the classic. I don't want to misquote it. Spiritual wickedness in high places. You know, so knowing that it's spiritual wickedness in high places, how much more spiritual righteousness, should you be stacking up on the right hand side to overcome the wickedness that Esau and the spiritual demon Satan is bringing upon this earth? So this is Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. All right, and we see these things and look like a physical battle, but all this is really spiritual. The Lord said that the commandments is spiritual. All this go back because we didn't keep God's commandments. All right, we didn't keep the laws, the ordinances, the statutes. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So this is spiritual wickedness in high places. Our Esau, he didn't raise himself up against us. The Most High used Esau to raise himself up against us. Why? Because it all goes back to what? The curses all goes back to us not keeping the covenant, right? That we uphold it in Exodus 24 and verse 6. It's all goes back to that, man. So you got to remember as well, even though we're going through these things, it seems like, it's a carnal battle. We gotta get an army and fight back Esau right now, and we gotta get vengeance now. All this that we're going over is on a very, very spiritual high level, man. How one nation of people, the lowest nation of all people, can come up against God's chosen people and oppress them for millenniums. That's only done by a divine entity and power, which again is the Most High God Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Again, and we can't say it enough. It all goes back to keeping God's commandments, man. All right, what you got it?
Con. It all goes back to us. And when you keep the law now, when you look at this, you should understand why you keep the law. You make war against them when you keep God's laws. That's a declaration of war. When you are a Negro or just an Eve in America that does what you want to do, you're further perpetuating what they want you to do. You're actually fulfilling their agenda. But when you keep God's laws and you turn away from what they, designed the so-called black man to do, then it's an atrocity for them. When you look at the laws and having the faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, it should take on a whole new meaning on why you do it, because this is your only way out. Let me get one more precept before we go back to the article. This is your only way out. You're literally in slavery. This is your only way out. It's Proverbs 7:2. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers and write them upon the tables of thy heart. So the Lord just said, if you want to live, just keep my commandments, man. Have faith in me and just keep my commandments. Because if you don't, you're going to die by the hand of your enemy. Like the brother said, the worst nation in the world came up against you, man. And they're prospering over you. The most dirtiest, stinky, disgusting, vile, border of wickedness, hypocrite, This nation, known as the Edomites, came up against us because we didn't keep the commandments. So the Lord appointed death over us. In so much, we made a covenant with it. But we can go back to that article that you had.
You can scroll down, right? It says you go right there, right? It says Georgia had the most lynchings during the period study with 586. And again, when we look at these numbers, it's always more. Esau, he like to water down a lot of things. Not only do he water it down, but it's also a lot that's not counted of. It's a lot of lynches where Esau he lynched someone and he want to hit them in the waters and kind of dig the grave and hit them under there. So when you look at these numbers, it's always more than what they put out. You know, so it said Georgia, wait, with 508, and that's a lot. 586, and again, this is not including Northern Kingdom at all, right? This is after that. It says Mississippi had the second most with 576 killings. Louisiana was third with 540. Florida had the highest rate of lynchings per is that capital, right?
Yep.
Capital, right with what that say, right with 594 black residents being lynched annually. Wow, per 100,000. This is yearly. This is not just this is not just is that 100,000?
Yep.
Yeah, see that 100,000. Now this is not just tallied up all the way to this day. It's been 100,000. This said yearly, annually. And again, it's always more, man. It's always more. It says Brian Stevenson, the founder of the EJI, as now a slogan, right? Is now on a campaign to get more communities to erect markets or memorials at locations where lynchings occurred. Most lynching sites are not publicly acknowledged. And I'm led to believe anywhere you found a tree was a damn lynching site, man.
Yeah.
All these was all lynching sites. It's not just one specific lynching site. If you had a tree in your backyard, that was a lynching site. You invite the neighbors over, and you invite the kids over. You put the kids in the front so they can watch. All right, you find you a nigger boy. Find you a noose. You show the kid how you tie up the noose. Put the noose on the tree. All right, you jump and you beat the brother till he on his last breath. All right, you kill him, you torture him, you put him on that noose and you damn pull it up and you watch him strangle and suffer to death as your kids is eating popcorn, rejoicing in it. All right, so there is no just one lynching site. Again, anywhere where a tree was a damn lynching site. And again, we read this and you imagine it, and that's the thing you got to imagine this thing as well. All right, you got to see what our ancestors saw to the best of their ability. And as you envision that, it should make you enraged, man. All right, after seeing this video, you should have that much more hatred for the so-called white man. You know, you can scroll down and see if there's more in this article.
Nah.
Sit on that. Okay, Khan. Yeah, that's sit on that.
Con. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Hold on. Here we go. Now, a lot of y'all that like to vote, Democrat, right? I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. The Lord told you shouldn't even be voting in the first place, right? But let's go to Deuteronomy 17 to 17 first. Let me pull that. You shouldn't even be voting in the first place. A lot of y'all like to vote, but you won't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Israelites always vote that Democrat, right? It's Deuteronomy chapter 17, and I'm gonna start at verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him a king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. So the Lord's gonna choose your king. The Lord's gonna choose your ruler, not Esau nor the electoral college. One from among thy brethren shall thou set a king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Yeah, if you infringes and you got a beard on your face, you got a Bible at home, and you call yourself an Israelite, or you're an Eve with a head wrap, with a dress on, You call yourself an Israelite. If you at the damn middle school voting, you're off. You have spirits on you. Because the Lord said you shouldn't even be doing that in the first place. But let's take a look at our people in the world, all right, that like to vote. Right? Let me pull this up. All right. And it says, after the Civil War, Jim Crow era, there was a period from 1865 to 1877 where federal laws offered observable protection of civil rights for the former slaves and free Israelites. It wasn't entirely awful to be an Israelite, even in the South. However, starting in the 1870s, as the Southern economy continued its decline, Democrats took over the power in Southern legislators and used intimidation tactics to suppress Israelite voters. So you Democrats are like Joe Biden and they're like Kamala Harris because she looks like she has a little bit of pigment. Understand what political party in the history behind it, man. Don't you know the same political party all these jakes love right now, the Democrats and food stamps and enabling single mothers in the household and that actually started with Democrats coming to the South and making it hard for you to vote in the first place. Now they want you to vote. They want all these illegal immigrants, right? Our Northern Kingdom brothers coming from the border. They want them to vote for Democrats so they can automatically win. That's why these Republicans are pissed, man. Right? They yelling close the border, and you got Israelites coming across the border, and they all trying to vote Democrat. But understand this: these Democrats, look where it started. They were meant to oppress you. These tactics included violence against Israelites, and those tactics continued well into the 1900s. Lynchings. So lynching started from Democrats. Were a common form of terrorism practiced against Israelites to intimidate them. It is important to remember that the Democrats and Republicans of the late 1800s were very different parties from their current iterations. Republicans in the time of the Civil War and directly after were literally the party of Lincoln and anathema to the South. As white Southern Democrats took over legislation in the former Confederate states, they began passing more restrictive voter registration and electoral laws, as well as passing legislation to segregate Israelites and whites. The Democrats are the reason for segregation. That Democrat Party, the same party Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and your great grandmother love to vote for. Your mom likes to vote, and your whole family because they want another some more food stamps. They want some welfare. Guess what? They are the reason that they started segregation in the first place, man. Right?
It's a lot good too.
Come.
And we read the top, make a quick point. It said Civil War. Right after Civil War. And Jake's fought in the Civil War. Free and enslaved. So even though we fought in a Civil War, the minute it's over with, you fighting for your freedom and you fighting to be let go. The minute it's over with, you just shed your blood for America. You getting lynched by the same people you just fought for. So that's madness.
Yeah, it's complete madness, man. So that's what they do. And like I said, this goes back to the Democrat and Republican. None of these parties like you. Stop trying to say, "Oh, I'm a Republican this year. I'm voting for Trump or I'm voting for this person." No, your vote don't matter, Jake. When are you gonna get it? All right.
Jake's still a person.
You said what?
I said, Jake. Jake. He's still three-fifths of a man. He's not even a whole man.
You still. You're not a whole human in the Constitution. Still to this day. That's why when they kill you, they can get away with it easier because don't you know they can just pull up the Constitution and say, well, technically, this person's not a man. It hasn't been ratified. So, welcome to America. And it says, it wasn't enough to separate Israelites. Segregation was never about separate but equal. And that's the case that I want to get into, too. When you go into the civil rights case, the Plessy versus Ferguson case in 1896, it says they gave the phrase separate but equal. Okay, well, we can have a Israelite water fountain. You can have a Edomite water fountain. But guess what? The Israelite water fountain was more dirtier. It had more diseases. The pipes were dirty. But the clean water fountain for Edomites, well, we both got water fountains. We both got bathrooms. What's the problem? That's this Plessy versus Ferguson case, and this wasn't changed until all the way until 1954, where you had the Brown versus the Board of Education, where Ruby, that 5-year-old girl, Ruby, when she first entered into the school system, all them Edomites went to kill her. That was that trial, and guess what? That was the same year they took the Bible out the school system. Why?
It's,
You said
it's
what?
like, and I was gonna say, how much hatred do you gotta have for again? She was a little girl. They was throwing stuff at her, grown Edomites, man,
Yeah, I'm gonna see
throwing
if I can.
stuff at her and cussing her out and B words and stuff. You know,
Yeah, that was literally what they was doing. Ruby
yeah.
Bridges. There we go. Ruby Bridges. Right? Is an American civil rights activist. She was the first. How is she a civil rights activist? She was just trying to go to school.
That's off.
Yo, she was just trying to go to school.
That's off.
Now she's a civil rights activist. I remember we read this
Look
in
at
school, the story of Ruby Bridges.
that.
She's still alive. She is still alive. You acting like this 100 years ago. You gotta forget. She's still alive. She looked like she like your damn grandmother, man. You know,
Yeah,
them
you know,
Edomites was hot.
kind of aging well too. She not, don't look like that's how you know it's not that long ago, man. Not long ago at all, actually.
You know, yeah, man. Like she was only 5 years old, man. And that was the Brown versus the Board of Education. Let me see.
And she still had a smile on her face too, man.
Yeah, you couldn't break her.
Nah.
Okay, around 1963. They took the Bible out the school around 1960. So a little bit after they tried to so-called integrate the school systems. And you had a lot more Jakes coming into the school system, man. So they took that Bible right out. They said, nope, no, we can't have it. We can't have it. Right around the time of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, there was another court case, the civil rights cases. It was three cases, right? Or 5 cases. It says instead of 5 cases that were consolidated into one issue, a majority of the court held the Civil Rights Act of 1875 unconstitutional against the lone famous dissent of Justin Harlan. The majority argued that Congress lacked authority to regulate private affairs. So they say, well, hold on, Congress, you can't come into state affairs. If we want to treat them like monkeys, we can do that. Under the 14th Amendment and 13th Amendment merely abolished slavery, segregation and public accommodations would not be declared illegal after these cases until the Civil Rights Acts of 1964. So these cases, these states wanted to continue segregation. They said, "No, we like racism." All the way up into 1964. And here's the last one, the Slaughterhouse case, which was 3 cases which were consolidated into one issue, offered the first opinion from the Supreme Court on the 14th Amendment. The court chose to interpret the rights protected by the 14th Amendment as very narrow, and this precedent will be followed for many years to come. Yeah, they said the 14th Amendment, yeah, that's narrow. We're going to continue to oppress these Negroes, man, you Israelites. That's what all these cases were about until the Civil Rights Acts of 1964, where they said, okay, well, everybody can do the same thing. But until then, 1873, 1883, 1896, all of these cases, man, they didn't like you. And this was the Supreme Court. You know? So you understand this, man. This is the Jim Crow era. Your Democrats perpetuated the damn racism that that we still see to this day. Even your Republicans. You know? You got it.
That's all I had.
Con, you get close to precept.
I don't know if I had one more article. Is that it?
Con, let me see. We went over this one. Good spirit. Did that one. Con, yeah, that was all of them.
Okay, Con. I got a quick precept for the closing, right? I actually want to go back to Wisdom of Solomon. Actually, I want to go back to Psalm 73. All right, back to Psalms chapter 73. I'll start at verse number 3. All right, Psalm 73 and verse number 3, and it reads, right, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Right, and I know, when I was early, and sometimes I still got certain thoughts, same playing in your mind, of you thinking how, how the hell Esau getting this position, and I wish I could live in that house, and I wish I could have that car. But one thing to remember is all this is temporary as well. Even though we going over the affliction, the turmoil, the wickedness that we went through, it's always a recompense that the Most High has set up for His people, man. All right, it's always a just balance with the Lord, right? So David, he said, I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked, for there is no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Yeah, when you run the world, when you run society, when we got this certain power, you're not plagued like other men. You can't relate to other men, right? It says, therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. And everything that we went through, that's what it looks like when you're covered with violence. All right, when you're covered with just rape, robbery, and murder. Right. And when we go out and teach on the streets, so you do the videos or however way you labor, you tell Jake, you gotta wake up and you prophesy on the downfall of this kingdom and telling the white man be going into slavery. All this is for a reason. Because again, look at all the atrocities. And this is not even all the atrocities. This is just Jim Crow era itself. Now we did a video on throughout the history of America as a whole, but just going into Esau and what he's done throughout all throughout all periods. I mean, that video would be damn 20 parts. Or how he took down the Japhites, right? How he took down Israel, or how he took down all these other kingdoms, how he went to these islands and he destroyed these people, he destroyed and conquered the whole land of him. All these things, it said what? Right? Verse 6 again. Therefore, pride, right, compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Right. But again, this is why Esau, they have to be destroyed, they have to be rooted off the face of the earth. All right, they have to be taken out of existence. Let's get that in Obadiah, verse 18, real quick. All right, Obadiah, verse 18. You know, so this Obadiah, right, verse 18. It says, the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it. And everything that has come into pass. All right, the Lord spoke that. The Lord spoke about Esau rising up. The Lord spoke about Esau taking over the world. The Lord spoke about Esau destroying the kingdom of Israel. And the Lord has also spoken about them being exterminated from off the face of the earth. And if you want to be a part of that, you have to remember the things that Esau's done to you. All right, you got to have that rage and that hate for your enemy. Yes, you have to hate your enemy. All right, you can't be that brother that's saying, well, we don't hate, the Bible says hate. You know, we don't hate. Jay, he try to get away from hating it. No, you gotta hate your enemy. You gotta hate Esau. If you don't hate Esau, you're not gonna make it. So with that being said, you gotta remember the things that Esau has done to you. Build up your hatred for the so-called white man. Build up your hatred for the wicked, because ultimately you're supposed to hate what the Most High hates. All right, that's Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. He said, I hate Esau and I love Jacob. All right, I got one more, Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7, and then I'm going to bring out my close. All right, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So if you sowing rape, rob, murder, pillaging, extortioning, you have to reap that. It says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. And all Esau does is sows to his flesh, man. So he just sow carnal things in the earth. All right, where's the account of Esau getting spiritual? All right, breaking down the precepts, sowing to the spirit, the fruits of the spirit. All right, where's the account of Esau having the fruits of the spirit? You know, that has never happened and will never happen. It says, "But he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting." Right? But if you in this truth, you're sowing to the spirit. All right, you getting the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You building up your spiritual riches. The Most High is going to reward you with a spiritual gift, man. But you can't be like the heathen, sowing to the flesh, sowing carnal things. Because if you're doing that, you're gonna reap nothing but carnal things. You're gonna reap the punishment of the wicked. All right, but I got to close in Sirach 43 and verse 30. Right, Ecclesiasticus 43. Right, and verse number 30. That's why the Most High commands us to praise Him more and more and more as we see the day approaching. So this is Sirach 43 and 30. It says, "When you glorify the Most High, exalt Him as much as ye can, for even yet will He far exceed. And when ye exalt Him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough." And no man can never go far enough when it comes to serving the true living God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. That comes with reading, praying, fasting, studying, giving alms, exercising the fruits of the Spirit, loving your neighbor, doing the work of the Lord. You know, however way you put your hand to the ministry, whether you make garments, you know, you watching over your household, you taking care of your children, building up your family and the laws, the ordinances, the statutes, these different things is what's gonna have Esau's kingdom to fall, man. Like how we read in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, it's all spiritual. Right? If you want this kingdom to fall, keep God's commandments. And again, that's all through whatever labor you do, right? For the sisters, if you got a husband, you reverence your husband. All right. You know, if you got a congregation, you know, you cook, clean, sew. For the brothers, you watch over your household, do the work of the Lord, guide your household in righteousness. Whatever you do to profit the ministry, profit, magnify the name of the Most High God, you know, do that. Because if you don't, you will be a part of prolonging, you know, America in the society. What you
That's
got?
right. Come. And that's exactly right, man. I mean, like I said, keeping these laws, doing what we have to do. Let me actually go to this right here, Psalms 90. There's a reward for that. There is a reward for that. Let me go to Psalms chapter 91 and verse 8. And it says, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Why? Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. What's a refuge? How do you make the Most High your refuge? Right? A refuge is a condition of being safe or sheltered from pursuit, danger, or trouble. If you have taken nothing from this life, understand that we are a people that's in danger or trouble all the time. I think we brought it out in one of these damn things that we're always in danger, man. Always in danger. Right? It's in one of these articles. But the point is, you have to make the Most High your refuge when you're surrounded by these Edomites. And how do you do that? By abiding in His law, statutes, commandments, having the faith in this word, in this book, man, as much as you can, talking about the Most High. Because when you're doing that, you're literally safe from danger. You're safe from being lynched. You're safe from, damn so-called racism, man. Even though they still won't do it, but the Lord's going to provide for you all the time. You have to make the Lord your habitation, and then you're going to see the reward of the wicked. Let me get this real quick in the book of Tobit. Let's see what Tobit did. And Tobit was a righteous man. Actually, I'm just going to type it right. Tobit was a righteous man. Right? It's Tobit chapter 14, 13. When he became old with honor, and he buried his father and mother-in-law honorably, and he inherited their substance in his father Tobit's. And he died at Ecbatane in Media, being 107 and 20 years old. But before he died, he heard of the destruction of Nineveh. He heard about the destruction of the place of his slavery. We want to hear about the destruction of America and all these other kingdoms, which was taken by Nebuchadnezzar and Ahasuerus. And before his death, he rejoiced over Nineveh, man. Imagine that. Imagine learning about all these atrocities, all these things happening to our people, seeing it in real time, still living it, and before your death, even if you don't taste death, but before that point, you get to rejoice over the place that your people was held in bondage for hundreds of years and suffered oppression, that they were finally taken down by the hand of God. Call law like Yahweh Ba'Shem HaMashiach U'Mak Yahushua, man. You know, and that's the biggest thing. That's what we want to, want our people to know, man, through the spirit. Keep these laws, live in these laws and in the faith of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man. You got any other points, King?
Khan Allah. Right.
Khan.
Stay on fire, repent, be on fire for the Most High God. That's pretty much it.
Khan. And with that, we'd like to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua and say Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom.